Hey guys, you join me here today at Curry INEOS Grenadier up in Danbury, Connecticut, and we have the all-new INEOS Grenadier. And this is a 2023 model, I believe. I don't know too much about this thing. I was kind of getting a quick briefing on it, but this thing, but it's pretty epic. We have a little bit of a panic button on here, and this is in, I believe, the Fieldsman specification. I think it's in the low mid 80s as spec'd here. It's still technically a pre-production unit, so it's not a full production one that's coming to the US very soon, and they have a lot of pre-orders coming. I think it looks really cool, and just a quick driving impression around the parking lot. I really like it. It has a really old school feel with modern tech, modern engines, and all that fun stuff in here. So we're gonna go take this thing on a quick drive. Don't have too much time with it today, and I want to talk about it just a little bit because these things are going to be pretty popular. So we have a key fob here. It feels pretty rugged, a kind of switchblade style key in there. Unlock it, open up the doors. Really big interior in here, a lot of space. Everything feels really solid. I believe it's made in France actually right now, developed I think throughout Europe. Really cool. You have a step to get in here. Hopping inside, pretty solid thunk from the doors. Now you do have to close these doors pretty hard. It's like an old G-Wagon almost, and it is a manual key to start it up. A key in there. Hear the B58 engine come to life, and yes, it has a BMW B58 under the hood. ZF 8-speed automatic gearbox. You have your transfer case controller here. Really unique interior, I do have to say. Now this is a pre-production model, so we could say transmission error, so apparently it is okay. Otherwise, pretty nice. We have these port windows up here that actually open. Really cool, even on the passenger side as well. That's so cool, and they can actually be completely removed. Other fun stuff in here, we have this unique leather package as well. So we have this brown, like kind of maroon style leather with this baseball stitching around it. Looks really nice. Recirculating ball steering rack, so it's a little bit interesting to drive around. It's the old G-Wagons used to have. Really interesting layout here, but we'll talk about that while we're on the road. Pop into gear is really simple, just like a BMW if you're familiar with that. Now we do have manual seating controls, which is fine. They feel nice, and I have to say the quality and like just build finish around here is pretty solid. All the panels feel very well put together. I think Magna did help kind of the engineering with this vehicle with INEOS, so that's pretty reassuring actually. I really like this little clock and compass here. It does move around, the actual compass, which is pretty cool. Auto stop start as well. Try to get a little bit of efficiency in here. Now I think one thing that you're definitely going to have to get used to is not having a gauge cluster up here. I think they did that for two reasons: A, to kind of open up this space and improve visibility, and also just for simplicity of engineering the vehicle. So you can see right here you have your speed up top, and you also have a few different gauges. You have your gear, you have your fuel gauge, as well as your temperature gauge, which is pretty nice. And then your regular infotainment system is kind of blended into this side panel right here. So we have home. You do have a kind of, I'm not going to call it iDrive, but some kind of controller down here to kind of cycle through. You have off-road pages. You also have a back button, navigation, and a few other things there. A nice G-Wagon right there. Sweet. And if you don't know the whole story about the Grenadier and INEOS, the head of INEOS really wanted to have a modern interpretation of the original Land Rover Defender, since Land Rover's newer Defender is not necessarily what I would call a true interpretation of that. And these panels in here are so cool, especially this top big strong panel up here with all these off-road buttons and some other switches. You have auxiliary switches up there, just like in a Bronco. Down here we have some more stuff. We have seat heating, audio controls. I really like this hazard switch as well. It feels very rugged and well put together, but also very like fighter jet, airplane like of a vehicle. Oh, that steering is definitely something to get used to. See the turbo spooling up there, and we're out on the road to the INEOS Grenadier. Very kind of bumpy, hard ride. You know, this is an off-roader at the end of the day, but this is not the true off-roading package. There's an additional off-roading package you can actually get in the Grenadier that's a little bit more rugged. You get beefier tires. I believe you can get front, rear, and center diff lockers as well. So this is just like one version of the Grenadier. It's a little more luxurious focus. We have these Recaro seats here. You can see that brown, kind of maroonish leather style stuff there, which is really nice. So it's a little more luxury focus, and rear space is a little bit tight, I will say. It has a very shortish wheelbase around the Defender 110, but I think a little bit shorter. It almost feels like a Toyota not RAV4, a 4Runner style off-roader. Visibility in here is definitely interesting. You sit very, very high, like in a big SUV. Big side windows all around you, a lot of glass, which is fantastic. The only real issue is looking out back with those kind of unique style rear trunk doors, which I'll show you guys in a second. That's really the only area where I think it could be improved. They could have just thrown in like a rear view camera up there and that mirror, which it doesn't have. Otherwise, it's pretty good up here, especially your front kind of panoramic style visibility is really good. And one of my favorite things on this steering wheel is this little toot button, which is like a calm around town horn. So it sounds like that, and your real horn is a little bit louder, a little bit more aggressive. Braking performance feels pretty good. The steering is definitely something to get used to, that's for sure. It's a unique steering wheel. It's kind of designed for off-roading usage, so it won't like kind of snap back on you too much, and kind of get some better control and some trickier situations. But on the road, it's a little loosey-goosey. Takes some time to get used to for sure. While we're stopped at this light right here, again, auto stop start coming in handy. I do like this controller here. It feels very nice. I believe it's actual metal too, which is really cool. I don't know if I can get over that. That turning indicator is so interesting. I've never heard anything like it before. It doesn't even sound like a turning indicator. It just sounds like a chime, a light chime in the background. Oh, acceleration's pretty good actually. Again, BMW engine, just been detuned. I think we're making around the 280 horsepower range, so I'm not sure if people are going to get their hands on this and tune it at some point, which I wouldn't be surprised if they do, but that's what you're going to be getting right now. Honestly, driving it really easy. I don't have complaints, and even in this pre-production unit, it feels pretty good, which I am impressed with. I want to take you guys on a quick tour of some of the storage spaces back here, because it's definitely interesting on the back, as well as all of the unique accessories you can get around the Grenadier. Cool. There's a little Wrangler there. Awesome. Popping into park, pretty simple with the button, and you're in park right there, which is nice. A unique steering rack. I want to show you guys the rear cargo space real quick. This person goodbye. People probably have no idea what this thing is, because this is pretty sweet. So back here, you see you have a step ladder, nice big spare tire, and if you open up this door here, it actually opens to the side. So you have like this little like side quarter door back here, and this door does open as well. I honestly don't, here's the latch I think right here. Yeah, there we go. So then you have this huge opening back here. I mean, like, it's massive. I think these doors go, yeah, this one goes, yeah, they open pretty much fully wide, so you can have a nice big opening to put stuff in here. Definitely feels taller and wider than something like a Defender, but you can definitely notice how high the entry load floor is, and the whole interior is very rugged, so it's nice rugged material in here. There's a lot of mounting points for accessories and things. Got power outlets back here. These seats obviously do fold down, and you also have that rugged material on the back to make sure nothing gets scratched up. This is really cool. I think you have a little bit of some more accessories and storage here. So probably for your safety and hazard stuff. You have to change the tire. No power doors. Nice solid thunk from them as well. Really cool. I like these taillights as well, LED lights, and these are really cool. These kind of mounting points on the entire side of the vehicle you can kind of strap things onto, even down here as well. Nice, really solid metal step right here. I think they can also act as a rock rail. You also have some mud flaps with the INEOS and Grenadier badges on it. Nice hood as well. I really like this front fascia. You got like these center fog lights, full LED lights on the sides, some skid plates and mount toe points underneath. Solid metal bumper as well. It's a really cool vehicle. You can see this unique badge here as well, and multi-international vehicle right here. Here is your gas cap back here. I think you have to open that from the inside. Oh, right here. Pretty easy. I like how it blends into the body as well. I will say the rear seat space is a little tiny. I mentioned that earlier. Let me show you guys real quick back here what that looks like. Nice big opening. You have that step, of course. I like the branding everywhere. That's really cool, but it's a little tight back here. Hopping inside, sitting behind myself, you know, this thing's an off-roader. You can see the floor, how it's kind of like mounted around the chassis of the vehicle. It's body on frame architecture, of course, but it's definitely unique. You sit pretty high up. I'm about 6 feet tall. I have about 2 inches of headroom, which is really nice. Really high roofs, which I like. The seats themselves are actually fantastic, super comfortable. They have a nice sculpture to it. Again, the Recaro designed seats, which is really nice. They feel very high quality. I like that you have air vents back here as well, and some charging ports. You have a USB-C and A port, which is fantastic. And you know, if you were sitting a little bit further back, you do have some foot space in this kind of center area, as well as a decent amount of like knee cutout space in here, which is nice. So honestly, it's not bad back here, but it definitely could be a little bit tight, especially if you're trying to fit 3 people. There's a big hump in the floor and very, very minimal space in this center console area. But I really do like the interior of this thing. It's very rugged, it's unique, and I think it's a fresher take to something than like a Wrangler or a Defender, which is a little bit more road focused nowadays, a little bit more luxury focused. Up here we have these kind of like really solid mounting points as well. It's almost, you could call them handles as well if you want to hop on the side of the Grenadier. You can see up here those port windows, which are really cool, as well as some kind of roof rails. I believe you can add some more accessories up here, as well as some other mounting points to kind of put stuff on there, which is really nice. Let me show you under the hood real quick. That BMW engine, there it is, a double pull, very familiar. I thought it says Grenadier in there. That's really cool. The INEOS badge. Here is our under the hood here. It is a manual strut to open and hold it up. You can see powered by BMW Grenadier. Very familiar engine. So I think this will be a very reliable powertrain. Tunability is probably going to be really good on this as well, since it's a ZF 8-speed and the BMW engine. So it's got that whole pairing to it. It even smells like a BMW powertrain, which is interesting. If you know what that smells like under the hood, there you go. But pretty nice. This hood isn't too heavy either, so if you have to pull it open, it's not too difficult. Solid thunk when it's closing as well. I don't know, guys, so far so good with the Grenadier. I like this little badging here that tells you what model it is. We have the Fieldmaster. Love the badging up there as well. So far, I'm pretty impressed with the Grenadier for what it is. And they, like I said, they have a pretty significant amount of pre-orders of these. They will be bringing a pickup truck to the US. And I think INEOS is working on like a hydrogen version, a electric version, and a few other variants as well coming down the road. So this is just getting started with this all new kind of off-roader from INEOS, major corporation with their chemical and petrochemical stuff, but this is like their first foray into an actual vehicle, and I think it's a pretty good success. Definitely some areas of improvement to go forward, but on this really first impression of this early kind of pre-production unit, I'm pretty impressed. Anyways, guys, definitely go check out INEOS of Danbury, Curry INEOS. If you are looking to get one in the United States, especially on the East Coast, they have a whole bunch of available models to come test drive and check out. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining me on this quick tour of the INEOS Grenadier Fieldmaster. And as always, stay tuned for more coming from Allcarnews. Cheers. You got a quick sense of acceleration here. This engine definitely is peppy when it does need to be. Ooh, nice turbo whistle. Of course, it's a BMW engine, so I'm sure it's making a little bit more power than the quoted 280 horsepower that it's been detuned to. But I think it's more than enough for this vehicle. You don't need to be going fast whatsoever in this thing at all. It's a tank at the end of the day, and it's meant for off-roading. And I like that this turbocharged engine is here to kind of give you that low-end torque that could be helpful off-road. And I'm thankful that it's not some 4-cylinder. And again, huge thanks to Curry INEOS Grenadier here for letting us check out the INEOS Grenadier. They will be opening up their own dealership soon, and this Mercedes dealership allegedly will be moving so in place of the INEOS store. So that's going to be really exciting to see. And anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this drive of the INEOS Grenadier. It's been really interesting to kind of get a first impressions of this thing. I've been seeing them slowly more and more on the internet, but I think it's going to be a huge success for this little brand. Especially in the US, where we are SUV hungry, off-road hungry, and people always want the latest and greatest thing. And if you don't want to buy an old clunky old Defender, this is perfect for you. It's going to be a little bit cheaper than probably one of those, even if you fully restore it. And this has all the modern tech and the modern engine and modern efficiency and stuff that you would expect in a new vehicle. So good props to the INEOS for developing such an awesome brand new vehicle, and I'm very excited to see how they do coming down the road.